What's up, Sean? You're looking a little bit different today, my friend.
Yeah, we have internet issues again. We thought it was ours, but it's just the Comcast issue in the area. So
Yeah, Comcast. I know I had some internet issues myself today. Had a little bit of a discussion with the folks over at AT&T. Hey, before we get cracking today, Sean, I want to say heads up to Jerry, to Lawan and Trevin. Thanks for posting some stuff. Tell your friends about us. Let's go ahead and put some more, share our thoughts with everybody else and the sort of things that we like, why we like them, make our cases, and then let's go hash it out and see if we can't find some winners. So we 100% appreciate it. One thing I see on here, Trevin mentioned Thursday's game. He likes Zeke over 14.5 rushing attempts, solo bet. I think Zeke probably does get more than 14 carries. I mean, the guy supposedly spent the whole offseason working out like a beast. So we'll see. Over 39.5 yards against that defense without Zach Martin could be a different issue. We'll see. I think they're going to have to throw the ball because that was their weakness last year. Tampa Bay, they were really strong against the run. The Cowboys line is a little bit shady.
yeah, I'll tell you, Elliott's always a little overrated too. Of course he should get over 14.5 carries, but he doesn't always do that, right? Like he should always, get 40 yards. I will say I looked into that, and I'll look into more for tomorrow too. Prescott is like over under 38.5 throws or something like that, which is a lot. If he is got a sore arm and everything, I don't know if he's going to be able to throw that many times.
Well, I think they're going to probably not be able to run the ball, and it depends on the score too in that respect. But Speaking of the NFL, yesterday we talked about, and we'll talk a little bit about how to make your own NFL power rankings and a little bit how they work. So I have it up over at Moneyline Madmen. So just go over to Moneyline Madmen. You'll see in the blog section how to make your own NFL and power rankings. So go ahead and click on that. Hopefully it'll open up faster than my computer is doing it at the moment. But, I don't know how many other places that you can go to where they teach you how to make the sausage, right? Not just give you the sausage. So week one power rankings. So these are my week one power rankings, and you see the power ranking score here. So the Bucs and the Chiefs are tops. They should be. They won the Super Bowl. They're defending champs last year. They won their respective divisions. The Bills, the Ravens, the Niners, and down the list. So where do these numbers come from, Sean? That's probably what people are wondering. So they came from an article I read many years ago from a gentleman who used to be a line maker. And that line maker, you can see that article. I link to it here as well. But here you can see the article, and he talks a little bit about how he makes the lines. So I've used this to my advantage over the last few years in terms of making my own lines. You'll have to tweak it a little bit. You're going to have to add in your own form of – what's up, Drew? How you doing today? So you're going to have to add in your own form of like home field advantage. You're going to have to add in your own sort of spread. So example, how this works basically is Arizona versus Atlanta. So you see Arizona has an 8.5-point score and Atlanta has – well, let's go ahead and just go look for tomorrow based upon mine. So tomorrow we have the Cowboys. So they have 9 points, and Tampa Bay has 12 points. Each point or each half a point is worth a point. So a 3-point difference between the Cowboys and the Buccaneers means the Buccaneers should be a 6-point favorite. That's how the power ranking works. But you have to adjust for home field advantage. So in all likelihood, you want to give the Bucs another point, 1.5 points if they're home. And if they're on the road, you would subtract a point and 1.5 points. That's how you go ahead and create your own line, so to speak. And then you can look at that line and how it compares to the line that Vegas is offering you. Now, it's not an end-all, be-all, obviously, because if it won 100% of the time, certainly nobody would be sharing it. But what you will find is many times it points you in the right direction. So let's say tomorrow, I don't know what the line is, Sean, for tomorrow. I think it's 6.5, right? Is that right?
It was 8.5, I believe.
Oh, it's up to 8.5 now?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
So according to the power rankings, it should be around 7.5. So that means there might be a little bit of value on the Dallas Cowboys based upon the power rankings. Now, for me, a 1.5 point difference between my power ranking and what the NFL line is, standing alone is not enough to go ahead and make that play. So what I'll do then is I'll do my own quantitative research. Now, every week, qualitative, not quantitative, but I also do some more quantitative too, some more math. But every week you need to adjust that. So what you're basically trying to do is predict how many wins the team will have at the end of the year. So the way you start is you use the NFL Vegas lines for projected wins. And then you add or subtract last year's Pythagorean difference. So if for example, the Cowboys won 9 games last year, but should have only won 8, you would subtract 1. So you can find the Pythagorean difference using Pro Football Reference. I put a link into the article there as well. Or you can just watch this show and keep coming back, because we'll go ahead and update our rankings every week. I'll tell you which ones I like, which ones I don't like, and then we'll go ahead and make our picks from there. So that's how you can create your own NFL power rankings. It'll give you a good sense of which teams might have a little bit of an edge in terms of the line Vegas is offering you and the line you think it should be. And then on top of that, you can account for, like I said, home field advantage, some game-specific differentials. So, for example, tomorrow night, Cowboys should have a difficult time running the ball against a Tampa Bay team that has a very easy time stopping the run. And then from there, hopefully, you'll find yourself enough winners that at the end of the NFL season, you look at your bankroll and it's positive, Sean. That's how you create your own power ranking.
Yeah, and it's confirmed. I look, Tampa Bay is favored by 8.5 points tomorrow night. So according to this system, and if you go through and you read the article, it all makes sense. I've used it for the last couple of years and turned a profit out. So I've made a couple adjustments. I look for a game difference of it's got to be at least more than 2-point differential between what Vegas is offering me and what the power rankings say, and even more. And then of course you look at matchups and trends and injuries and all that other stuff. Some you'll just toss out, some you'll focus on. The idea is to find the 1 or 2 games, maybe 3, where Vegas is really offering you some value and you have a chance to actually win and cover. So, or just cover the spread, right? That's all you really want to do. So that covers the NFL today. Tomorrow we'll talk about our picks, Sean. And now we'll get to our normally scheduled programming, and that's baseball, right? I mean, there's nothing else today. Nope.
And there's a bunch of games going on already today, no? I think if I saw that correctly on there.
Seattle, Houston, and San Fran, Colorado.
All right, so let's pull up the games that are still ready to be played. Hold on a second, Sean. Let me get the right button. So you have the New York Mets visiting the Miami Marlins again. Oh, no, that started up at Minnesota and Cleveland. I was on that Cleveland train yesterday, and unfortunately it was a wreck for me. I've been cold. So one of those things where you got to hopefully find your way. Right now, and you're looking at the money lines, the majority of the money is backing Cleveland once again. I'd like to back Cleveland once again. Ryan is kind of an unknown commodity starting for Minnesota. The Minnesota team has are discounted. They're not as good on the road as Cleveland is at home. They're not as good at scoring runs on the road as Cleveland is scoring at home, but yet somehow they won the first 2.
Yeah, so that's why I'm staying away. And like you said, Joe Ryan, you don't know who he really is. McKenzie's definitely the better pitcher. I would think Cleveland wins, but I couldn't trust it enough to go with it.
Well, the public thinks they're going to win. Almost 80% of the tickets are on the soon-to-be Guardians, and 3/4 of the money is also on the Guardians. Detroit and Pittsburgh. You can take the. I would just have a hard time at Pittsburgh in a negative line ever. If I was thinking about this game, I would probably think about Detroit, but more than 70 cents on the money is on the Pirates, and so are the majority of the bets.
Yeah, and actually, I'm going to take Pittsburgh. They're 6-3 as the favorite, so when they are in this spot, they are winning. And I prefer Keller over Manning in this spot. And Pittsburgh's definitely playing better than Detroit, and they've won 4 out of 5 matchups so far this year. So they seem to have the advantage over Detroit. So I'm going to take them
minus 100 and on Pittsburgh, Sean. Looks like the best number you can get is minus 121. I'm a little hesitant because it's a 50-50 game for sure. Actually, the simulator says that it's more likely that Detroit wins than Pittsburgh wins. So I would want to have a plus line if I were taking the Pirates today. I would, like I said, I think in terms of the right bet versus the winning bet, the right bet is Detroit. It may not be the winning bet. New York Mets, as I started off with, against the Miami Marlins. According to this, Miami is the right bet, but I'm not so keen on betting on the Marlins at all.
No, and this is a 50-50 game too. Mets are playing better than the Marlins, but I prefer Alcantara over Hill, so it was back and this is a no play for me.
Well, at minus 100, Sean, I think I'm going to put. I'm only going to put 15 on it, but I'm going to go ahead and take the Miami Marlins to win this game at only 15, and I could get plus 100. So I'm going to kind of back off a little bit on my wager size until things start to heat up again for me. You know, you go through those inevitable slumps, and the idea is you have to react to them, not just look like a deer in the headlight and get run over by loss after loss after loss. So I'm going to go ahead and put $15 on the Miami Marlins at plus one. See, Miami I can get for plus 100, Sean. So that's a good bet because I got a 50. They got a little bit more than a 50% chance to win, about a 54% chance to win, and I'm getting a little bit of a premium or a discount, if you will, on the line. So I'll take that.
Yeah, my only concern is the Mets are playing really well right now. They were in that bad slump, and now they've turned it around again. So they'll start evening out too. They'll start slumping again.
Sooner or later, I mean, hopefully the Mets start slumping and I stop slumping, and it's not that the Mets continue to be hot and I continue to slump. Next spot on the board, Kansas City and Baltimore. Yesterday, I was afraid of the Kansas City squad because I didn't feel like I was getting the pitching advantage. Today might be a different story.
Yeah, and yesterday I went with Kansas City and it didn't work out. So with Harvey and Minor going, this was a no play for me.
Well, this is a play for me. I'm going to go ahead and put 15 on Kansas City. Today, I have unquestionably the better pitcher in Mike Minor. And then the Kansas City Royals have a much better recency bias in terms of form. They have the power ranking edge, and they have a 52-48 edge in scoring runs on the road than Baltimore does at home. Baltimore doesn't really score a whole lot, and they're projected to win this game probably around 58-59% of the time. And as it stands right now at minus 123-ish, that says that they probably have a implied probability. Well, when it opened up at minus 130, they had an implied probability of winning this game about 56%. So that number is kind of dropping a little bit. So I'm getting value in taking Kansas City. I'm getting value in getting the better pitcher, the better scoring team, and just the better team overall. So I'll go ahead and put 15 on Kansas City, Sean, at minus 123.
Okay.
Next, let's see how if anybody agrees with me in the betting world. The Royals and the Royals are taking in about 70% of the bets and about 3/4 of the money. So it looks like most of the people are backing me. In fact, a lot of people are actually taking the Royals and giving up a run and a half. I'm just for the record, I'm done with run lines for the rest of this year. They've killed me. I've picked so many teams that have won, only to see them win by 1 run instead of 1.5 runs or more. So those are L's. I'd rather take a profit, even though it's smaller, than a loss.
Yeah, when you place that bet, the public should just run out and bet that team to exactly win by 1, and they'd be pretty profitable right now.
They'd be making a killing. I should be making a killing. So I'm done with run lines, maybe until the playoffs start. Toronto and New York, I said yesterday, Toronto was the right bet. We should have taken them, Sean. But today, once again, looking at this game, Toronto is a plus line. And once again, Toronto might not be the winning bet, but Toronto is the right bet.
Yeah, yesterday, the game started and you could see Toronto hitting them a little bit. I actually did put $10 on them at plus 200 and made $20. It was one we should have definitely pulled the trigger for. This one, I feel like the Yankees are going to come out of the slump. The Yankees might win this game, but it's a no play for me. I don't have any faith in it. Yeah,
it's not a play for me either. But Toronto has the edge in terms of the simulator. They have a little bit. It's a 50-50 game straight up, though. Toronto has been, like, on the run differential, it's tiny favor towards the Yankees. But clearly Toronto's in a little bit better form right now. And you're getting plus 115. That is the right bet once again, but not a bet I'm going to make. Tampa Bay and Boston, both teams are – well, you can get both teams are negative lines right now, Sean. Interested in either?
Yeah, I'm going to take Tampa Bay here. Tampa Bay's been beating Boston this year. I think they match up. Their offense is really clicking. And Evaldi, he gets it around sometimes, and I think Tampa's going to have their way with him.
Yeah. So Drew says he took Toronto -1.5. I hope that's not a mistake. I don't. How did you take a -1.5 anyway? Do you mean +1.5? Because they're not the favorite.
You can go to the alternate lines and still do it.
Do that. And what kind of number did you get for that, Drew? I got to imagine that's got to be pretty high, right? +2, 300. Sean, look into that.
Yeah, I'm gonna. So I'm gonna take the minus. What is it? 110.
Tampa Bay best number is -102.
Okay.
And looking at the betting public, let's see if I can find a game. Where is that one at? It's hiding on me. Tampa Bay is taking in about 50-50 on the bets, but actually Tampa Bay is taking in about 2/3 of the bet and about 2/3 of the money. So they're pretty split on that. And looking at the way that the teams match up, Tampa Bay and Boston actually has the edge in runs scored. Tampa Bay has the edge in how well they're playing right now. The game is literally a 50-50 game, and the only side I would take is if I was getting a plus line on either one. I'm not getting a plus line on either side, so I would stay away from that game.
So Toronto -1.5, you can get it for +170.
+170? Yeah, I think that's not a bad play, Drew. I think it all depends on if they can get out on top of them, and the Yankees' backside of the bullpen is not as strong as when they got the lead. Washington and Atlanta, Sean. Touki Toussaint, my favorite name. He and Chichi played against each other last week. Touki's the better pitcher. This is a -200 parlay team for me.
Yeah, so I'm going to do the same thing I did yesterday. Just switch the teams. I'll throw the Braves back on a 2-team parlay for $30, and then we'll have another team later.
To me, I'm not taking the spot. There's too much of a price to pay for the Atlanta team right now. Vegas is making you way overpay for Atlanta. That's how they make their money. I'm not going to buy into that. And, the betting public is all over Atlanta too. Right now, the Braves are taking in about 98% of the money on the run line, giving up 1.5, but they're taking in less money in the on the money line. They're only taking in about 70 cents on the dollar. So it looks like folks think they're going to either win big, or maybe they're tickling the other side of that. Washington is a possible plus line. Cubs and the Cincinnati Reds. You can get the Cubs with a plus line, and you can go -103 is the lowest number for Cincinnati.
So the question is, how's the weather out in Chicago? Because this seems like an over to me.
It's kind of cool today, Sean. So the wind would be blowing out to what's left field, but it's not that warm. It's only like 72 degrees, something like that. By game time, it'll probably be in the 50s. And when it's 50 degrees outside in Chicago, the ball really doesn't carry. So I don't know that they'll score a lot of runs. Although Mills has given up runs to Cincinnati, but Gutierrez has pitched pretty well against the Cubs.
Yeah, so this wasn't going to be a play for me. It's just a line that jumped off the board to me that it may go over with the pitching matchup. But if you're saying the weather's like that, that may be dangerous.
Yeah, it's just, on a cool night in Chicago, the ball doesn't carry as much as a hot sunny afternoon. So it doesn't mean they won't score a lot of runs. It's just less likely. That's all.
As far as the game, I see no real value. I couldn't pick a side in this one. Cubs are starting to play better, and Marco's going with the Reds.
And the Indians. He's going all Ohio, O-H-I-O. If you ever gone to a Ohio State game, they chant O-H-I-O over and over and over again. It's like every one of them in high school failed a spelling test. The word was Ohio, and they've been stuck in the corner, and they have to repeat it 100 times till they get it right.
Yeah, so I didn't see any value in this game. I couldn't figure out a side. Cubs are starting to play better. The Reds, they either score 10 runs or they look like they can't score at all. So.
Well, to go with Marco, like I said, I was looking at this game as a possible Cubs getting the run line, the money, the plus line at home. And then I looked at Mills' record and Gutierrez's record against the Cubs, and he just did not look like a good matchup if they pitched to form against one another as they have in the past. The Phillies and Milwaukee. Phillies kind of got the better of Milwaukee yesterday. Maybe they'll do it again today, Sean.
Yeah, I think the Milwaukee, this really pitching matchup favors them. Gibson really hasn't pitched all that great for the Phillies. So I think Milwaukee takes it to Philly here, and I'll take the money line with Milwaukee.
So with Milwaukee, you're getting -153, Sean. Yeah, Milwaukee should beat them. They have the power ranking advantage. They do have the run line advantage. Although when I simulate the game out, it says that the Phillies have a better than 50% chance to win. So that gets me off this spot. But we'll see. And as far as the money is concerned, the bettors, the betting public, let's see if they agree or disagree with you, Sean. The betting public likes I hate when these drop-downs things jump in front of me, messes me up. The money is backing the Brewers big time. 90% of the money is on the Brewers. How you guys like the under here, Phillies and the Brewers? Ooh, what's the total on that, Sean?
It's a little harder this way, but it's 8.
8 on the under?
Yeah. So here's my issue there would be Gibson's not pitching all that great for the Phillies, and then you got their bullpen. If you wanted to do something like that, I would go with Peralta with Milwaukee in that bullpen, and I would just take the Phillies under. It's probably like 3.5.
Yeah, I don't know what that number is, but that probably makes good sense because the Phillies do have a pretty bad bullpen. You can be under, and then the bullpen comes in, and the next thing you know, you're over, right?
Yeah, so I would have more faith in the Phillies not scoring their total than Milwaukee scoring there. So
yeah, especially coming off a big day yesterday.
Yeah, well, actually, I think that was the day before because Milwaukee beat them yesterday.
Oh, that was the day before. Yeah, one day bleeds into the next for me.
Yeah, it was the day before the Phillies won like 12-0. Yesterday, I know Milwaukee was up 5-0. I think that might have been.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I remember now. Let's see, the Dodgers versus Wainwright. Yeah, he thinks this keeps going. I think it's probably you're right. First 5 is probably under in that respect. Maybe one of those no inning first run type things. Dodgers and the St. Louis Cardinals. Wainwright, I was looking to take the Dodgers in this one because getting the Dodgers minus 125 seems like a really good bet. And then you look at Wainwright, and Wainwright's been in the league, God, forever, almost as long as I've been alive. I think he was around when they threw their first pitch. But in all of these years, the Dodgers, he actually has one of his lower ERAs against the Dodgers.
Yeah, and I was looking the same way. And then you see, Mitch White pitching for the Dodgers too.
Mm-hmm.
But the Dodgers have had their way with the Cardinals in this series so far. But with Wainwright going, this was a pass for me.
Yeah, I was thinking about taking the Dodgers. I'm leaning the Dodgers because they do have the power ranking advantage. They big time score a lot more runs. They're just a much better team than St. Louis. But that Wainwright history against the Dodgers is one that's kind of hard to ignore because he's done an excellent. And it's one thing. The guy's been, like I said, in the league forever. So to have a low ERA against them for like 20 years means he's, for whatever reason, he gets up to pitch that game. And the betting public is kind of split on it. The Cardinals are taking a little bit more money than the Dodgers are. So I agree. In a 50-50 game, if I were going to take a side in a 50-50 game, me, Sean, I would take the plus line. LA, how about that game yesterday with the Angels and San Diego? The poor kid pitching for LA gets through 6 innings of perfect baseball, maybe 7, and they take him out.
Yeah, and see, that's the game I told you. Something didn't seem right about that game. Yesterday morning, Padres were minus 400, and there's no reason the Padres should be minus 400 versus anybody. And then the Angels had that kid going that's been pitching good so far. It was just another game I couldn't pull the trigger, but I guess those are the games I should start pulling the trigger. We'll get my balance back up. There's a lot of value there. This one, again, I don't really trust Darvish. He's not pitched all that great, but the Angels, I don't have a listed pitcher.
Yeah, they don't have a listed pitcher. I don't know who it is, so it's an undeclared line right now. All right, last game of the night. The Chicago White Sox and Dallas Keuchel against Oakland, who likes Montas, actually part of the White Sox early farm system early in his career, now going up against a team that could have been his team with Dallas Keuchel, who's just been getting lit up, Sean. And Oakland tends to light up lefties too.
Yeah, exactly. So this is why this is the second part of my Braves parlay. I'm going to go Braves Oakland for a plus 134. I think Oakland. Yeah, I think Oakland wins this game and the Braves win. I love the pitching matchup here with Montas versus Keuchel. And like you said, Oakland, they face against lefties a lot better than they do righties.
What's the total in this game, Sean?
The total is.
Those are going to be runs scored in this game because neither pitcher has pitched very well against the other side.
8.5.
8.5. I put a 10 spot on the over 8.5 for me. These guys are going to go over 8.5. Well, I kind of worry about that a little bit because sometimes Oakland doesn't score. Actually, the right bet in this game, Sean, unfortunately, is the Chicago White Sox. Like I said earlier, doesn't mean it'll be the winning bet. But it's the right bet. They're the better team. They score more runs on the road than they produce more on the road than Oakland does at home, albeit a small amount. And they are better winning on the road than Oakland is at home. And you just saw they demolished them last night. simulator says the White Sox have close to a 60% chance to win. So if they played this game 10 times, pitching matchup notwithstanding, I feel like the White Sox are the right bet here. Rather than go ahead and doing the line, instead of doing the total, Sean, I'm actually going to go against you here. I'm going to take the White Sox, but I'm only going to put 10 on them because I can get 100 and plus 155. Well, actually plus 156. So 10 on the White Sox at plus 156, and that wraps up my betting for the night. I took the Miami Marlins plus 100 to cover against the Mets in the run line, minus 123 for Kansas City to beat Baltimore in Baltimore, and then for the White Sox to go on the road at plus 156 for $10, 15 on the other two to make up my 3 for the night.
Yeah, so I took Pittsburgh minus 121, Tampa Bay versus the Red Sox minus 102, and I did an Atlanta Oakland to win parlay plus 134.
And that wraps it up. Tomorrow, of course, we'll be back for the first game of the NFL. Again, if you haven't seen it yet, go back and take a look at the opening of the show where I walk through how to make your own power rankings based upon what a gentleman who used to make the odds at a sports book in Las Vegas would use for himself. Use that to your benefit. Of course, I'll be using it, and as well as other tools that I apply to look to see which games I might like. It looks to me like just off the face of it, the value tomorrow night is on the Dallas Cowboys, not on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but it might not be enough value for me to take the Cowboys to cover that spot.
Yeah, 8.5 on an opener is tough with two good teams. I would probably prefer.
There's two good teams in that game.
Well, there's a great team and there's a above average team.
The Cowboys are above average. When was the last time they were above average?
Well, you know what I mean here. They're not horrible. They'll be there.
Sure were horrible last year. That defense was actually on pace last year until like the last week or two to actually be the worst defense in terms of points given up in the points per game in the history of the league. And I know that's kind of unfair because nowadays with the rule changes and stuff, points are scored a heck of a lot more than they used to be in the old days. But you see Brady too complaining about linebackers and stuff changing their numbers.
Yeah. That ain't gonna matter. I would look at Tampa Bay either just to win, add it to a parlay, or you could also I would use Tampa Bay or consider them as a suicide pick as well if you're into that.
Well, we'll be talking about that tomorrow as to which game, who we like and who we don't like, and that sort of for it. Maybe we'll look at a couple player props in there as well. Yeah. One other thing too, starting on later on in the week on Saturday, I'll publish my daily fantasy football rankings for the Sunday DraftKings FanDuel. I don't do it for really Thursdays or Mondays, unless maybe I'll do it the first Monday because there's 2 games. With only 1 game on Thursday, there's really not enough players to really pick from, and I really like the Saturday games a little bit better. So we'll put those out every week. Make sure you come back to Moneyline Madman. Sean, and where else can they find us?
Facebook and Twitter, Moneyline Madman. And this year is the first year in a while they don't have 2 Monday night games. It's only Baltimore and Oakland.
All right, well, it's only 1 Monday night game, so I guess I won't be doing them on Monday night. All right, Sean. So, yeah, make sure if you're watching on Facebook or you give us a thumbs up if you can. If you don't want to, then you don't have to. And then on YouTube at the same time, give us a thumbs up because that's how we get higher up in the algorithms and all that sort of stuff. And we would greatly appreciate it. All right, Sean, until we meet again tomorrow for the first NFL game of the 2021-2022 season. We'll see you in 23 and 30, folks. May all of your bets, well, good luck at the window, and may all of your bets, of course, be winning bets.